All right, so let's go under the hood of this entire freaking division. Letting you guys behind the curtain a little bit. Okay, so on Tuesdays, we talk about what we're going to discuss on this show.
Yeah.
We were throwing around some NFC South stuff. And at one point I said, wait a second. Are the Saints only one game behind the Bucks? And Beller was like, yes. So it sent me to the standings because in my mind, it's like, maybe the Panthers are one game back, but the Bucks a stranglehold on this. And even if they're not good, they'll stumble to the division and that'll be it. That's probably the case when you look at the actual division odds, which we could talk about in a second. But every single team in this division is one game back of the Bucks for the division lead. And we just haven't really talked about how much of a disaster this is. We talked about why the Bucks might be able to turn it around, the fact that they're going to win a bad division, but this entire thing is just an absolute mess. Somebody has to win this thing, and I just don't know what to make of it right now. It just feels like one of those all-time disgusting divisions where the winner gets in and the playoff game that we have to watch is so incredibly ugly, but maybe that's too simple in this case. Maybe there's actually more to it than I'm giving it credit for. But right now, just looking at what the standings are, it's just unbelievably disgusting.
It is, especially from where week one was. Remember the Bucks, especially after Dak got hurt, just dismantled the Cowboys, and how far we've come from there. And I know the story for me was, for when I focus on the NFC South is like lol, Matt Rule. Then look at the cool stuff the Falcons offense is kind of doing with these, Island of Misfit toys. And then it's like, oh, the Saints could be okay, depending on how they put things together, which is kind of fallen. That's kind of that's it for me. That's a summary. If you want to look back for me for the last 4 months about the NFC South, but, yeah, I'm right there with you. I kind of for a few weeks was feeling pretty good about the Falcons. I was like, hey, they're really putting stuff together. And then it's just no. And then the same with the Saints team. I start feeling good about certain aspects. The guys get hurt. Chris Olave is hurt this weekend. Like, okay, shit. Okay, now he's okay. There's some guy that I'm really excited about with there. The offensive lines guys are coming and going. Defense good against the run. Pass game depends who they're playing against and what they could sort out. So I don't know. There's just hasn't been anything to really grab me or kind of make me feel good or want to plant a flag on, other than maybe the Falcons offense being interesting. The Bucks, every time they played the Panthers after the head coach got fired, and it was like, okay, this is the week, this is the week that they were up 17-0 on the Bengals. And it was like, okay, here they go. They realize they're waking up. It's December. They're going to and then they just fall apart in that game. It's just one of those kind of whatever divisions in this year. And I feel like it's happened in the NFC South a few times in the past too.
So I wanted to go over what we think the line will be for whatever NFC South team actually wins the division playing against the Cowboys in the wild card round. Because they will be hosting the Cowboys in the wild card round, because I think it's an interesting way to try to determine which of these teams actually would be the most dangerous if they were to get in.
Yeah.
So we're going to guess what these are. Beller, are you going to give us the answers here?
I'm going to give you the answers. Let's do it.
All right. So Nate, why don't you start us off? Okay. What do you think the Cowboys at Bucks line would be? Now this is I feel like Bill Simmons, which is unfortunate. But what do you think the Cowboys at Bucks line would be? We're guessing the lines here if this game were to happen.
Okay. So Cowboys at Bucks. I would go Cowboys -2. How'd I do?
Are you guessing 2, Robert? Yeah.
I'm going 3.5.
Okay, so let me just say, all these lines all come courtesy of our gambling and line expert, Austin Mock. I asked him to run all of his numbers, and he gave a Cowboys -3.5 line against the Buccaneers.
Yes! Oh my God, this is so fun. We should do this all the time.
No.
All right. All right, that makes sense to me, because I think the Cowboys are significantly better than the Bucks. So I'm into this. All right, what do you think the Cowboys, or excuse me, what do you think the Cowboys at Panthers line would be if the Panthers were to win the division?
Okay, I'll go Cowboys. Well, that's Cowboys -8.5.
I'm gonna say Cowboys -6.5.
Ooh, getting a touchdown.
Man, Robert on fire. 6.5 is the number that Austin puts on Cowboys at Panthers.
Sandbagger.
I
don't wanna
not
do-
share
I don't
these,
wanna
Nate.
do
I did not
that.
share
There's
these. I
no
kept
way
these to
for me to
myself.
know these. These don't exist. So, okay, that's pretty good. All right. So, again, 3-point gap. I think that one makes sense.
Okay,
All right.
overcorrected there.
Cowboys at Falcons, if the Falcons were to win the division. What do you think?
Austin's number assumes that Desmond Ridder is still the starter and not Marcus Mariota.
Okay.
I will say
Okay.
that.
All right. Okay.
Well, the Panthers might. Okay, I'll go. Shit. Now I'm like rattled. -5. Real point.
What did I say for the Panthers?
6.5 was the Panthers.
I'm going to say 7 for the Falcons.
All right. It is Cowboys -8 in Atlanta.
I almost went 8.5. God dang it.
Okay. And then so Saints. Saints is
So
what
we're-
I'm most
Oh, wow.
interested
So the
in.
Falcons are 2 point. Okay, interesting. That's interesting to me. 1.5. Okay, so Saints.
The Panthers get some real respect from Vegas
They
in a way that
do.
you would not anticipate. I think it's because of their defense.
They're
Yeah,
2.5 point dogs only against the Lions this week.
I
Yeah,
know, I've learned the hard way.
that's what I'm working off of. All right.
I did a whole stat thing. I looked at like since they fired Rule, like how good their defense has gotten. They're like 22nd, and it's like, come on, I like just give me something, some
All right,
angle
Saints.
here. Saints. God, I'm minus. I'm gonna go -5. I'm gonna stick with that one.
I'll say -6.
It would be -4 for the Cowboys against the Saints.
Oh, that's yeah.
Because
that
it's 3.5
actually
the
makes more sense.
Bucks. Okay.
That actually makes more sense.
Wow.
Okay.
That was,
There you go.
All
I
right.
don't
So
think,
if we're
I don't
going
think I
off
got
of
any there
that,
because Price is Right rules. I don't think I nailed any either.
if we're going off of that, okay, which
Thank
and
you,
this is
Ballard.
beyond the current divisional
guys.
odds, that
Thank you.
means that the Bucks would give Dallas the best game still.
Yeah.
Then it would be the Saints, then the Panthers, then the Falcons. As
Yeah.
things currently stand, that does make sense to me. And so that brings me all the way back around. Before we move on, it was unfortunate that I sounded like Bill Simmons because I didn't want to steal the guess the Lions bit. I want to make that clear and not have someone be like, oh man, Robert was like really said something about Bill. It's like,
Good
I
job
didn't
by
want to
you, buddy.
steal Bill's bit. Okay. Because I feel bad about doing that because it's their thing.
That was fun.
Okay.
That was fun. I see
So,
what they
that
do.
was fun. So the reason I wanted to do that is I wanted to kind of have some example or some evidence
Yeah.
that the Bucks are still the team that would be most dangerous if they were to win this division, even if we have all this consternation about what they've been. And you go back and watch that Bengals game, they're moving the ball in the first half. Like they can still get rolling maybe a little bit much. They can still put some stuff together on offense.
You can still
and-
kick the ball a couple feet forward.
What's most frustrating is that, and Tony Romo is banging this drum during the game, when this team is willing to kind of lean into a version of their offense where they're pressing some easy buttons and they're using some play action and they're putting some guys in motion. The first half of that game against the Bengals, Tom Brady used play action on 45.8% of his dropbacks, which was the highest first down play action rate in the league in week 15.
Okay.
Tom Brady finished the first half against the Bengals, 17 of 23 for 194 yards.
Pretty
Okay.
damn good.
Pretty good. In the second half, used play action on 13.8% of his dropbacks. On the season, it's 16.5. No full-time starter in the NFL has used play action less often than Tom Brady.
I don't get it, man. All their
just-
rates have dropped.
I just don't understand it. And that's why it's hard to totally dismiss this team because, all right, one tweak here, one tweak there, and then what can they look like?